Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another in my videos on my Tandy 1000 and some of the accessories that I've been making to add additional functionality that Tandy never gave us back in the day, or just add fun, cool things. Anyway, one of the latest things I've been working on has been a clone of the Tandy 1000 smartwatch. Now, unfortunately, I've had a lot of issues with this. This is version 2.2. However, the reality is it's probably about the 7th or 8th revision of this particular board, and I'm hoping this particular version works. So basically, the idea is that you take your ROM chip out of your Tandy, you pop it in this socket here, you put a Dallas DS1216 chip in here, a CR1632, 1632 battery in here, and then you drop it into the ROM socket upside down underneath the RAM expansion in your EX. So anyway, let's put it together, see if this one finally works. Okay, and so that there is our Tandy BIOS, and that's what we need to remove. Okay, so I'm just going to very carefully remove the BIOS chip, like so. And before I put this in, the BIOS chip goes in there, and as you can see, I've fairly clearly marked which way it goes. So you line up the notch, which is that end there, with these slots like so. Okay, so now I'm going to put the little Dallas chip in, again lining it up like so. If this does work and I make them for people, I'm probably not going to socket them. I'm probably just going to solder them straight in. Okay, and that's what it looks like installed. So basically, pretty straightforward. Sorry for the dodgy camera angles. I'm using my phone and it's still on its little mini tripod. But yeah, as you can see, should fit very nicely underneath the plus ISA expansion. I've put some Kapton tape over the chip socket that's on top, that's kind of acting as a holder, just so that way there's no risk of shorts or anything like that. And I've even put a little bit of electrical tape, as you can see, across the bottom of those shielding components there, just to make sure that the battery can't possibly short out on the shielding. Okay, well, let's see if it works. Okay, just firing things up. Now I'm going to be booting off my external floppy drive, so I've pressed the F3 button to swap, and it's going to be booting off a disk that has the smartwatch software on it. So this is a Gotek virtual floppy drive that has had the HXC firmware flashed onto it to basically make it a lot more useful. Now, I have a few different test programs on here. I'm going to try SW clock first. Sorry, SMW clock. See whether it detects the clock or crashes. The latter is definitely something I've seen a lot of. So, ladies and gentlemen, what you see here is a crashed Tandy. Unfortunately, when I run SMW clock, or test clock for that matter, ignore clock.exe, that's just simply for real-time clocks, with my adapter in, it does not work, and I am completely stumped. I've got to say, I have been through every schematic I can find, and I've even got an original smartwatch and as you can see, I've removed the actual Dallas chip out of that, and I have tested it within an inch of its life, and I'm stumped. I do not know why it's not working. Back to square one. If anyone out there has managed to get one of these things working, you know, via their own design, I'd really like to hear about it, because, well, basically, I feel like a complete fool right now. I've made about half a dozen of these things, and every one of my prototypes results in a failure. I'm really puzzled, because it's, well, you know, simple. Like, you know, this is the E design right here, right? This is all the pin outs, all right? I've, you know, confirmed all that with a multimeter that, you know, that works. And by the way, before I pulled out the Dallas chip, this worked perfectly. I just can't fit a plus ISO memory card in with it installed because it's too tall. So that's why I'm coming up with the design I am. And yeah, so like Dallas pin out, you know, nothing too fancy there. And yeah, like I've done a fair bit of research on this. You know, I really am quite stumped. Although, yeah, I might try a couple of other things and come back before I finish this video off. I might try doing some bodge wires just with the battery. Shouldn't be needed though. I mean, it really shouldn't. You know, the battery should just be able to be wired to those pins 4 and 8 and work. I mean, really, the second wire was for a second battery. Anyway, I'll try that. But yeah, as you can see here, this is the schematic for the E. It's pretty freaking simple. So yeah, well, I guess there's one of two conclusions that we can draw, right? One is that I'm an idiot, or two is that it's more complicated than I thought. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been doing a bit of investigation, and as part of that investigation, as you can see, I managed to finally pull apart a original smartwatch from Tandy and get underneath it and actually check out how it was built. And I discovered a few things that I didn't know and that caused my board to not work. And as you can see, I have basically worked out what I was missing, and using the schematics and everything, and this little guy, I tell you what, getting all the shmoo off was pretty darn difficult. Anyway, as a result, I've now updated my schematic, and I have added in the missing component and the missing wires. So the missing component actually turned out to be this guy here. So this is a oscillator or clock crystal, and yeah, without that, funnily enough, clocks don't like to work very well. And I also had an issue over here. You need to actually bridge CE0 and CE1, which I didn't know because they have this really strange way of bridging it, which is right there. This pin here, you can't quite see it in this pin here actually touches this pin here to bridge it, rather than them using like a track or something that, you know, over here like they've done elsewhere, or even up here where they've actually put in a proper bridge. Anyway, as a result, this little guy actually works. So I'm gonna have to spin up a new PCB before I can sell it, but I've basically bodged in the oscillator, hooked up the battery around the right way, and also you know, bridged the wires that I was missing, as you can see right there, and the little bugger works now. So let's have a look. Just gonna pop him in. So as you can see, got the Dallas chip, 3-volt battery, Tandy BIOS chip, and my bodge and my crystal oscillator, which should not be touching anything there because that's not going to work. There we go. And I'm just going to pop it in. So as I said, I do need to spin up a new version because not going to be selling a bodge wire version. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to boot up off this, hit F3, swap drives. One of the nice things about the 1000s. And on this I have the smart clock software. So I'm just going to go enter here. SMW clock is the name of the software, and I'm going to use the S command to copy the time and date from within the internal clock to MS-DOS. What do you know? It works! Finally, after all that, it works. As you can see, detected it just fine, and we even have the correct date and time in American date format. So that's pretty awesome. So yeah, just for reference, there we go, 16th, and it's 9:26. Yeah, it's out by a minute. I'm not complaining. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate your patience. Oh, by the way, the answer to my earlier question is yes, I am an idiot. It just took me a long time to figure out how I was an idiot. Have a great one, guys. See ya.